What's up, Sigmas? Welcome to the Silent Strength Sigma channel. The quiet ones? They're not harmless. They're just holding back, waiting for the moment they stop playing nice. There's a reason the Sigma male moves like a shadow and speaks in low tones. It's not because he lacks strength, it's because he doesn't need to prove it. At first glance, his silence feels calm, maybe even intriguing. You might call it mysterious, even charming. Until something shifts, and you realize. You weren't dealing with a quiet man. You were standing next to a storm in disguise. Here's the part no one talks about. Behavioral psychology has shown that the most unreadable individuals, the ones who exist outside the usual social labels, are often the ones capable of the most precise and controlled chaos when pushed. In other words, when a Sigma male finally unleashes that hidden side, it's not reckless. It's not loud. It's surgical. He doesn't lose control. He transforms into something colder, sharper, more focused than ever before. And the scariest part? He'll do it calmly, maybe even with a quiet smirk, as if he's just moving pieces on a mental chessboard. So prepare yourself. This isn't about alpha aggression or beta meltdowns. What's coming are 20 raw, bone-deep changes that take place when a Sigma male unlocks the part of himself no one ever expects to see. This isn't drama. This is precision destruction, delivered in silence. And by the time you recognize it for what it is, you'll already be in the aftermath. Number 1, he uses honesty like a guillotine. When a Sigma male shifts into his darker mode, he doesn't raise hell. He just tells the truth. But not the filtered, polite kind. No soft landings. No sugarcoating. No, I didn't mean it like that. He says exactly what needs to be said, exactly how it is, and without blinking. His honesty isn't just raw. It's surgical. It slices through ego, delusion, and denial like a guillotine. One sentence, and the whole room goes quiet. Not because he yelled, but because what he said was so uncomfortably accurate, no one knows how to respond. He's not trying to be cruel. He's not out to destroy you. He's just done holding back. You poke the bear long enough, you eventually meet the man behind the silence. And what you get is the kind of truth people spend years trying to avoid. The kind that hits you at your core, not because it's loud, but because it's true. He'll say what everyone's been thinking but was too afraid to voice. And once it's out, there's no putting it back in the box. What makes it even scarier is how he says it. No emotion. No smugness. Just cold, brutal clarity. He'll tell you what's wrong, how you got there, and why no one's been honest with you until now, all in one breath. And the worst part? He doesn't flinch while doing it. He's not looking for a reaction. He's handing you a reality check you didn't ask for, but desperately needed. This kind of honesty leaves a mark. People walk away stunned, defensive, or silent, not because they're angry, but because deep down, they know he's right. That sting in their chest? That's not offense. That's realization. And once you've been on the receiving end of it, you never forget it. The Sigma male doesn't use truth as a weapon, unless you give him a reason. But once you do, prepare yourself. You won't get emotional drama or petty insults. You'll get facts. Sharp, cold, and stripped of all fluff. It's not meant to break you. But if your identity is built on delusion, it probably will. Number 2, he becomes intellectually unforgiving. When a Sigma male flips into his dark side, one of the scariest transformations is how intellectually unforgiving he becomes. Normally, he's the guy who gives people space to express themselves, even if what they're saying is completely off the mark. But when he's pushed too far, his patience for nonsense drops to zero. He doesn't argue. He doesn't shout. He dismantles. And he does it with a cold, focused precision that's downright unnerving to watch. He'll let you speak, and then, without raising his voice or showing a flicker of emotion, he'll break down your entire point step by step, like a ruthless courtroom cross-examination rather than a conversation. The worst part? He won't even be cruel. He'll be calm, logical, and disarmingly factual, and that is what makes it brutal. He doesn't come for your feelings. He comes for your reasoning. And when he's done, all that's left is the awkward silence, where you're just standing there, trying to figure out how, when, and why you lost the argument so fast. This isn't about ego for him. It's not a power move. It's just the natural shift that happens when his tolerance for stupidity or manipulation runs out. He stops giving you the benefit of the doubt. He stops pretending your opinion is valid when it's rooted in emotion instead of logic. He's done playing nice. And when that mask comes off, you finally see just how sharp his mind really is. Not because he flaunts it, but because he uses it like a scalpel. What makes it even scarier? He doesn't just tell you why you're wrong. He shows you how you got there. He reveals the biases, the assumptions, the contradictions, all the fragile pieces of your mental house of cards. And when it collapses, it's not because he pushed it over. It's because he removed your illusions. And the worst part? He's usually right. People never expect that kind of ruthless precision from someone who's usually so quiet and observant. But that's exactly why it hits harder. He's not showing off. He's showing you the door. Once the Sigma male reaches that level of mental detachment, he doesn't care if you like him. He just wants the truth laid bare. And if your ego gets slaughtered in the process, so be it. Number 3, he turns stoicism into a weapon. When a Sigma male descends into his darker state, stoicism stops being a personal philosophy and becomes a psychological weapon. He doesn't just appear calm. He becomes a void. You yell. You cry. You throw chaos at him. And he stands there, still. Unmoving. Like a statue carved out of nerve endings. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't react. He just watches. It's not that he doesn't feel. It's that he's mastered the art of never letting anyone see it. In a world where people try to win through emotional leverage, this kind of unreadable stillness is pure intimidation. You can't guilt him. You can't bait him. You can't manipulate him into cracking. He just waits. Lets you exhaust every move. While he conserves energy for the only one that matters. That's what breaks people. Not the shouting matches they rehearsed, but the brutal realization that they can't reach him. He gives you no anger to push against. No weakness to exploit. Just silence. Heavy. Unyielding. Unshakable. While everyone else spirals, he becomes the anchor. He doesn't panic when things fall apart, he plans. He watches. He decides. He acts. And he walks out of the wreckage like he saw it coming all along. While others react. He calculates. While others melt down. He takes control. This kind of calm isn't comforting. It's terrifying. Because it reveals how unfazed he is by the very things that destroy other people. It's dominance, without ever raising a voice. It's the kind of presence that makes others feel exposed, dramatic, and powerless. Because when your emotional tactics hit a wall of stone, you realize just how much of your behavior depends on someone else feeling something. He doesn't. Not in this state. And when that cold, silent stare meets your chaos, it doesn't feel like peace. It feels like you're the only one still bleeding, while he's already moved on to cleanup. That's how he weaponizes stoicism. Not with violence. Not with noise. But with the kind of silence that makes everyone else unravel. Number 4, he can destroy your reputation without lying. When a Sigma male unleashes his dark side, he doesn't stoop to gossip or exaggeration to take someone down. Drama is for amateurs. Instead, he plays a far more devastating game. The truth game. He'll quietly gather every uncomfortable fact, every inconvenient truth, the things people whisper about but never say aloud. And when the moment is right, he drops those truths like a cold, surgical strike. What makes this terrifying? He doesn't have to twist anything. No lies. No embellishments. No fake stories. Just the raw, unfiltered reality that everyone else tiptoed around. Because facts don't need convincing. When he calmly lays out those truths, backed by undeniable proof, it's like watching a house of cards collapse. Slowly. Publicly. And with eerie calm. This isn't a vendetta. It's a reckoning. He understands the power of silence and timing. He lets the rumors fester. He lets people think he doesn't care. And then, he strikes with a level of precision so exact, there's no comeback. The damage is done, without ever seeming aggressive. You're not facing an enemy screaming from the rooftops. You're facing a strategist dismantling your image with nothing but truth. And that sting cuts deeper than any lie ever could. Because you can't call it slander. You can't deny it. It's just you, exposed. This isn't about humiliation for attention. It's about dragging the truth into the light, whether you like it or not. And when it's all said and done, you don't get to defend yourself with denials or threats. You only get to deal with the fallout. So when a Sigma male goes dark and starts playing the truth game, it's not personal drama. It's cold, calculated justice. And once it's done, your reputation isn't just bruised. It's permanently altered. Number 5, he mirrors you until you break. When a Sigma male taps into his dark side, he doesn't yell, argue, or waste time trying to correct you. No, he simply becomes your mirror. Whatever energy, attitude, or manipulation you bring, he reflects it right back with eerie precision. You act passive-aggressive? So does he, but better. You start playing games? He plays along, except he plays to win. And suddenly, you're not so sure who's controlling the situation anymore. It's not revenge. It's not drama. It's calculated emotional symmetry, and it's brutal. Because when he mirrors you, he's not doing it out of spite. He's doing it to make a point without saying a word. The more you push your dysfunction into the space between you, the more clearly you see it bouncing back. He doesn't even need to explain it. his actions become a psychological spotlight, and now you're standing in the glare of your own behavior. This kind of mirroring is terrifying because it creeps up on people. At first, you think he's agreeing with you, going along with your vibe. But then, it starts to feel off, like you're arguing with a version of yourself, but one that's calmer, smarter, and always 2 steps ahead. Eventually, it becomes unbearable. You start spiraling, trying to understand why everything feels so heavy and unbalanced. And then it hits you, he's not being cruel. He's just showing you who you are when no one's pretending anymore. That's the terrifying beauty of it. Sigma males don't need to punish you. They just become a live demonstration of your own toxicity. And the more you try to fight it, the more exhausted you get, because you're not fighting him. You're fighting yourself. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't justify. He just reflects. And that silent reflection becomes your undoing. By the time you break, he hasn't even moved. He hasn't changed. He simply held the mirror long enough for your reflection to shatter you. It's not revenge, it's karma, delivered quietly, intelligently, and with unnerving precision. Number 6, he'll watch you burn with a calm expression. When you cross a Sigma male, especially when he's in his dark mode, you won't get the satisfaction of a dramatic meltdown. There's no shouting, no threats, no begging for explanations. He simply goes silent, withdraws, and cuts the invisible strings he was using to keep your world steady. Then he does something that rattles people more than any emotional outburst ever could. He watches. Calmly. Coldly. Without blinking. He doesn't interfere. He doesn't try to fix the mess. He doesn't even say, "I told you so." Because he doesn't need to. He knows exactly what's coming, and more importantly, he knows you don't. That's the psychological power he holds. He saw your downfall before you even betrayed him. The only reason you didn't feel it sooner is because he was subtly keeping you afloat. Once he pulls that quiet support away, your bad choices start collapsing in on themselves like a dying star. And he lets them. This isn't spite, it's discipline. He won't dirty his hands to take revenge. He's above emotional chess games and too focused to waste energy proving a point out loud. His silence is the point. His absence is the consequence. His calm detachment is the punishment, and it stings far worse than confrontation ever could. What most people don't realize, until it's too late, is how much balance he was providing. He noticed your self-sabotaging patterns, your manipulation, your impulsiveness. And he countered them quietly and efficiently, like a silent firewall running in the background. But once you betray him, he steps back and lets you run wild with your own chaos. And when it catches fire, he won't throw water. He won't even blink. He'll watch you burn with the expression of someone monitoring a failed experiment, not angry, not gleeful, just done. And that kind of detachment hits deeper than revenge ever could. Because you'll come to realize, he didn't need to hurt you. He just needed to stop saving you. That's the final, cruel truth of his dark side. He knows neutrality is its own kind of execution, and he wields it with precision. Number 7, his presence turns intimidating without a word. When a Sigma male goes dark, he doesn't need to raise his voice, throw punches, or make dramatic speeches. His presence alone becomes unnerving. The room goes quiet. The energy shifts. Suddenly, people start choosing their words a lot more carefully. It's not fear in the traditional sense. It's a deep, instinctive awareness that something's not right. His silence isn't passive anymore, it's heavy. His stillness doesn't feel calm, it feels loaded, like he's holding back something powerful. Something surgical. And no one wants to be the one to trigger it. There's no yelling, no threats, no visible anger. Just a chilling intensity that radiates from him like static. You feel it before he even speaks. And if he does speak, it's brief, precise, and laced with meaning that lingers long after the words are gone. He's not doing anything, but somehow, everyone feels like they're being watched, weighed, and measured. Even the loudest people suddenly feel the need to shut up, like the air itself just tightened. What's really unsettling is that he's not trying to dominate the space, he just does. His presence becomes a mirror, reflecting everyone's anxiety, guilt, or insecurities back at them. People start second-guessing themselves, fidgeting, stumbling over their own sentences, not because he's doing anything, but because they can feel that he sees through them. That eerie calmness is a warning shot. It's the emotional version of a countdown clock, and everyone subconsciously knows that if it hits 0, it's over. This shift is so subtle yet so powerful that even people who've known him for years get caught off guard. One minute he's quiet and chill, the next he's giving off the kind of presence that makes grown adults rethink their choices. It's not about physical threat. It's about the psychological gravity he suddenly commands. You don't know whether he's about to walk away, or burn everything down. And that uncertainty is exactly what makes it so terrifying. He doesn't need to move a muscle. The message is already clear, something inside him has changed. And from this point forward, you're no longer dealing with a man. You're dealing with a force. Number 8, he speaks with brutal precision. When a Sigma male steps into his darker side, his words lose all softness. There's no more cushioning, no diplomatic phrasing, no effort to protect anyone's feelings. What comes out of his mouth is pure, concentrated truth, with edges sharp enough to slice through anyone's ego. He doesn't yell. He doesn't need to. He just stops playing the social game of sugarcoating and starts speaking with brutal, surgical clarity that makes people freeze mid-sentence. There's no small talk anymore, no pretending to care about surface-level nonsense. If he speaks, it's direct and deliberate, and every sentence hits like a sledgehammer to the gut, not because it's loud or angry, but because it's accurate. It's so dead-on that it leaves no room for excuses, denial, or deflection. You either confront the truth, or choke on it. And the worst part? He's calm the entire time. Not cold. Just done pretending. This kind of communication is rare, and that's exactly why it terrifies people. We're used to others softening the blow, talking in circles, giving us emotional room to escape. But when he speaks in this mode, he gives you none of that. His words strip away your illusions in seconds. There's no wiggle room. No, maybe he meant it differently. He meant exactly what he said, exactly how he said it. And you'll feel it. Deep. Because suddenly you realize, he's been watching. Processing. Remembering. And now that he's decided to speak, he's unloading the full weight of what he knows. Without fluff. Without apology. With a level of intelligence that makes it impossible to ignore. You won't even know how to respond. You'll be too busy replaying his words in your head, realizing how long he's been silent, how much he's figured out, and how accurate he's always been. It's not just what he says, it's the precision with which he says it. Like he's cut through all the noise, reached into the center of the problem, and pulled it out for everyone to see, whether they're ready or not. In that moment, you're not having a conversation anymore. You're facing a reckoning. And trust, no one walks away from that untouched. Number 9, he'll outlast you in psychological warfare. When a Sigma male flips into his darker mindset, trying to manipulate him is like bringing a rubber knife to a sniper battle. He's not just familiar with psychological games, he's the one who studied the playbook, rewrote it, and then set it on fire out of boredom. While others are out here playing tug-of-war with emotions, he's sitting silently, observing every move, collecting every detail, and mentally rearranging the chessboard in real time. You might think you're winning because he's quiet, because he's not reacting. But that's exactly what makes him dangerous. He doesn't react, he calculates. He lets you believe you're pulling the strings, all while you're dancing exactly where he wants you. You send a passive-aggressive text? He clocks the insecurity. You try to guilt-trip him? He isolates the motive. You ghost him? He predicted that move yesterday and adjusted his expectations accordingly. There's no rattling him, because his detachment isn't cold, it's strategic. What makes this so frightening is his patience. Most people burn out emotionally long before he does. He'll let you spiral, argue with yourself, play all your tricks, while he sits back, mentally sipping tea and collecting receipts. Then, when the time is right, he'll make one move, just one, and that single move will quietly dismantle everything you built against him. People who try to outwit him in psychological games almost always lose, not because he fights harder, but because he doesn't play for attention. He plays for checkmate. There's no ego in it. No emotional investment. He doesn't need to win loudly, he just needs to make sure you never try that move again. And by the time you realize how deep the game really was, you're already exhausted, confused, and emotionally disarmed. He doesn't do this often. But when he does, it's not warfare, it's a masterclass in mental endurance. You'll be fighting with feelings, he'll be executing precision. You'll think it's about emotions, he'll treat it like strategy. And by the end of it, you won't even be mad, just stunned, wondering how you got outplayed so quietly, so completely, and so ruthlessly. Number 10, he dissects people like data. When a Sigma male steps into his dark side, his emotional switch flips off, and his analytical brain kicks into overdrive. He stops seeing people as individuals with feelings and starts breaking them down like equations. To him, in that mode, you're not a friend, a partner, or a threat. You're just a series of habits, patterns, tells, and contradictions waiting to be mapped out. He's no longer emotionally engaged. He's running mental diagnostics on everything you say and do, and he's terrifyingly accurate. You try to manipulate him? He logs the strategy. You fake an emotion? He catalogs the timing, the micro-expression, and the motive. He's not reacting, he's observing. Like a scientist studying behavior under a microscope. And what's unsettling is how calm and clinical it feels. He's not trying to hurt you. He's not even judging. He's just studying. Breaking you down into data points and variables. calculating what drives you, what scares you, and what lies you've told yourself so many times that you now believe them. At that point, you're no longer dealing with a man, you're dealing with something more like a human algorithm. Every word you say becomes part of a formula. Every contradiction you expose becomes a breadcrumb he follows. And when he's done, he doesn't just understand you, he understands how to control you, outmaneuver you, or completely disengage from you without a trace of emotional debt. You won't even see it coming. What freaks people out is that there's no malice in it. No emotion. No insult. No vengeance. Just cold analysis, and it works. He knows what you're about to say before you say it. He predicts your behavior before you're even aware of it. And when he walks away, it's not out of anger, it's because he already solved the puzzle and got bored. That's what makes this version of the Sigma male so dangerous. He's not lashing out, he's leveling up. Mentally removing himself from emotional noise and playing 5D chess while everyone else is still arguing over checkers. If you push him into this mode, don't expect closure. Expect to be decoded and discarded, like irrelevant data. Number 11, he stops being human, and that's the problem. When a Sigma male taps into his darkest state, the very essence of his humanity seems to slip away. It's not that he loses who he is, he simply shuts down the parts that connect on an emotional level. Suddenly, you're not dealing with a person anymore. You're facing an almost alien presence, cold, calculated, and utterly devoid of the warmth or empathy you once took for granted. Conversations turn into interactions with an emotionless machine. There's no spark of kindness. No flicker of understanding. Just stark, surgical precision in every word and decision. It's as if the man you once knew has been replaced by a version of himself that's all logic, all calculation, and zero softness. That kind of emotional vacuum creates a distance so deep it doesn't just feel like space between two people, it feels like a chasm between worlds. What makes this transformation so unsettling isn't just the absence of feeling, it's how unnatural it is to interact with someone who has essentially cut off their own humanity. Humans are wired to respond to empathy, to emotional cues, to the subtle rhythms that say, I get you. But when he switches into this mode, none of that exists. You're left guessing, second-guessing, and often feeling like you're trapped in a cold, clinical experiment rather than a relationship. The problem isn't just that it's uncomfortable, it's that it triggers something primal in us. A deep, almost instinctual alarm that warns, this is wrong. Because people don't thrive in emotional isolation. We need connection, even flawed, messy connection. When he steps into this state, that essential connection breaks, leaving you with a hollow echo of what used to be. And the worst part? You know it's not permanent. You know the human is still in there. But while he's in this zone, the gap between him and you widens to a terrifying extent. That gap creates confusion, fear, sometimes even resentment, because it feels like you're trying to reach someone who's deliberately unreachable. When a Sigma male stops being human, at least in how he relates, it's not just unsettling, it's a warning sign. A signal that you're now dealing with something far more intense than ordinary frustration. Number 12, he'll drown you in logic. When a Sigma male taps into his dark side, emotional arguments don't stand a chance. Forget shouting matches or heated debates fueled by feelings, he's not playing that game. Instead, he methodically dismantles every point you make with cold, unshakable logic. There's no yelling. No personal attacks. Just a relentless, surgical exposure of every flaw, every contradiction, every escape hatch you hope to hide behind. It feels like being strangled by the truth, gasping for air in a sea of facts you can't contest. You try to bring passion. You try to appeal to emotions. But he's already stepped beyond all that. He's standing on ground so solid with reason, there's nowhere left to stand. Your emotions become irrelevant. Your arguments, reduced to crumbled rubble under the weight of his unwavering logic. The scariest part is how calm and composed he remains. He's not trying to humiliate you or win a popularity contest. He's simply cutting through the noise with precision, leaving you with nowhere to run or hide. When you realize your emotional defenses are useless against his razor-sharp reasoning, it hits like a gut punch. He doesn't just debate, you get dissected. Every inconsistency you hoped would slide by unnoticed is suddenly exposed in harsh daylight. And because it's logic, not anger or spite, there's no arguing with it. It's the kind of confrontation that leaves you questioning everything, not just about the argument, but about yourself. That's the dark power of his mind. He weaponizes logic so effectively, it doesn't just win the battle, it obliterates the battlefield. And when you're caught in that quiet storm of reason, it's not just your argument that's defeated, it's your confidence, your emotional footing, and sometimes, even your will to keep fighting. Final thoughts. When a Sigma male's dark side emerges, it's not a dramatic meltdown or chaotic explosion. It's a quiet, cold, and razor-sharp transformation that shifts the entire atmosphere around him. This isn't about losing control, it's about wielding it with an unyielding grip that cuts through illusions, emotional manipulation, and superficial bonds. His dark mode reveals the unfiltered core of his mind and soul, one that operates on brutal honesty, ruthless logic, and an emotional distance so profound it shakes even those closest to him. What makes this side truly terrifying isn't just his ability to dismantle egos, outlast psychological battles, or expose every mask with surgical clarity, it's the chilling calm with which he does it. He doesn't lash out. He withdraws, into a fortress of stoicism and control, becoming an almost inhuman force of nature that watches, analyzes, and decides with terrifying precision. And the consequences? They're not fleeting. When he mirrors your darkness, uses truth like a guillotine, or wipes away attachments with the flick of a switch, the impact is permanent. His truth cuts deeper than any lie. His logic suffocates emotional chaos. His detachment turns once meaningful relationships into hollow echoes. Crossing him means stepping into a world where softness is a liability and vulnerability is a risk you can no longer afford. But here's the brutal truth, this dark side is not a flaw. It's a survival mechanism, honed by years of mastering himself in a world that punishes authenticity and exploits weakness. It's the price he pays to maintain independence, peace, and identity. And while it may terrify those around him, it's also what makes the Sigma male a force unlike any other, enigmatic, unbreakable, and utterly unforgettable. So, if you ever find yourself face to face with a Sigma male's dark side, don't expect fireworks or melodrama. Expect a quiet storm, precise, relentless, and profoundly unsettling. Because when he reveals this side, it's not just a glimpse into his soul, it's a reminder that some men don't just survive the darkness. They become it. If this exploration into the Sigma male's darker side gave you a new perspective, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss content that dives deep and tells it like it is. Hit that like button if this struck a chord with you, and drop your thoughts or personal experiences in the comments. I genuinely want to know your take. And if you know someone who needs to see this side of the Sigma mindset, be sure to send this their way. Your support makes all the difference, it's what keeps this channel growing strong. Appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.